Failure is one of these blocks that founders must encounter. A lot of people say fail fast, fail easy, etc. But it's tough to deal with failure.
One should fail smart. If you're able to do the root cause analysis of your failure properly and fast enough, then you're failing smart. I consider success as a process. As an entrepreneur, you should not be very emotionally attached to your failures as well as your success. Find your right market, find your right customer segment, find the right pricing, do the competitive analysis. A product is not successful until someone pays for it, And I truly believe in this, is that there is no problem on this earth which cannot be solved.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast today on Speed Scale Strategy, Founder Journeys and Lessons. My name is Madanmohan Rao, co-founder of MXR.world, and joining us today on the podcast is Saurav Jha, founder and CEO of Simnovus. He is a graduate of Manipal Institute of Technology, and I am Bangalore. Welcome aboard the podcast.
Thanks, Madan. Thanks for having me in your podcast.
Great. Saurav earlier was with Nokia and Ixia and is now going to share with us some lessons on what he learned in his journey at Simnovus. So let me begin the first question with Saurav. I'm going to ask him about what are some of the common myths and misconceptions that you come across in the world of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so as I meet quite young and budding entrepreneurs even today, few of the myths that I commonly see in them, like first one that I see is that that I can do it alone attitude, and to most of them I tell them that the first thing that you should do is to find the right founding team, because one person cannot have all the skill sets and you need variety of skill sets to complement. That's the first myth, I would say. The second myth, what I commonly find is that, and I think it's related to the first one itself, that if I make a very innovative product, it will sell itself. I don't need anything else. That is not the case, because even if you have a very innovative and very solid product, you need a go-to-market strategy and a sales strategy to be able to grab the market. And similarly, the vice versa. If you have a very solid GTM, it doesn't mean that you don't need a product. You still need a good innovative product. And apart from this, you need a lot of strategy around operations, the optimization of your business operations and things like that, and then of course the finance strategy and a lot of things put into one place. Then it makes the business successful. That's, I would say, the second myth. A few of the other myths I would say is that so once I have the product, fine, but then why I'm making this product? What is the purpose? So what I would say is that first you should start with a purpose. What is the problem that you have seen that you want to solve? And only when you get the purpose, you will be able to find the right solution to that problem. You will be able to, create the right strategies for your GTM, for your team. How do you build your team? What kind of team you want to build? So I would say these are the, common myths that I see still in the entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that's true. Those are very good tips from you for all your hard-earned lessons. I think it's very important for entrepreneurs to prepare themselves very well, even before they start their journey. So speaking of journey, can you tell us how you got started? What gave you the idea of Simnovus? How did you get into the industry, this product, this space? How did you start?
I think I would say it was always my dream to be an entrepreneur. And I remember that, when I think my first entrepreneurial journey was, not the journey, but the first entrepreneurial event was when I was just 8 years old. With my friends, I started a community library. I think it was very early 1990s. I just with my friends, I found a garage and I collected all the old books from the community. I started this exchanging of books and then collecting money on behalf of, like, renting the books. I still remember I was able to earn 400 rupees then, but then I had to stop it because I had my studies and all that. So it never went anywhere further from there. But that was my first experience, as an entrepreneur, that this is how you can add some value to the community. People liked reading books and, they got variety of books and all that stuff. That's how, so I think it was always there in me. And what I strongly believe is that if you have a dream, and you follow it, pursue it, you can have different methods, you can have different ways, but it takes you naturally towards it. And I think that's how Simnovus happened. Once I had almost spent 15 years in my corporate professional career as an engineer, as a product manager, in sales, different kind of roles. And then it naturally, since I always had this dream, so it, kind of led me to this kind of a ecosystem where I met my right founders, and I saw a problem which was a very evident problem. We were able to figure out the solution, and then that's how we got started.
Great. So, what was the first product like? What is version one? What are some of the features, and how does it differ from where you are today?
Yeah, so I think that all came because me and my co-founders, we had a long professional experience as engineers and different roles. So what we found was that there are some common underlying problems. By the way, the industry that we play in, it's a very niche kind of an industry where there are very few players, I would say, because the entry barrier is very high. So I would say there are only a couple of major players who build such kind of products, and they are like big companies, multi-billion-dollar companies. They have a big brand name, but the products are very bulky. They're very pricey. They're very high-end, good products. But but all of this also caused a lot of problems for customers that nobody could see because they didn't have a choice. Customers didn't have a choice. But me and my founders working in those companies, we saw this problem. The problem of dealing with very complex products, high price, the learning curve is very steep. In fact, they had to hire very specialized engineers to operate those products. We saw this problem, and we figured a solution how to approach it. That making it a more software centric kind of a product, which is lean, which is simple to use, and of course low price. That I think clicked with most of the customers, and I would say that's even today that gives us the success that we experience.
Great. You've talked a lot about the product now, but obviously many engineering entrepreneurs need to build not just a product, but a company. And that's a big challenge maybe for people who don't have a management background. So tell us a little bit about how you went about forming your team, starting a company, defining values and principles for the company.
I think it all happens naturally when you have the right intentions and your objectives and purpose are very clear to you. And once you find the right founders, co-founders, it becomes even further clearer. Your ideas, your values, your purpose, your objectives get more clarified, get more filtered out, right? That helps definitely. And what I would say is that you also learn from your failures, right? So I don't know why we have made failure as a very depressing word, but one should celebrate the failure. So I must tell you the story that I told you about my eighth, when I was 8 years old. But then at my prime peak time of my career, I think it was 2012, when I was working with a telecom company in Bangalore. I just quit my job because I wanted to pursue my entrepreneurship dream. And I went into some domain, I don't want to name it, but I went into some domain which was completely new to me. I didn't have a lot of idea. I did it alone. I didn't have a good co-founder. I failed. And I failed very bad, But I learned a lot. And then I got back to job to restart my career. I did that, but I always understood where all I went wrong. And trust me, when I went studying in IIM Bangalore in the EGMP course, when professors were teaching us, I could very well relate to the mistakes that I did in my previous experience as an entrepreneur. All 4 P's were missing. For example, no price, no people, no place, wrong pricing, wrong product. So that I learned, and when we started Simnovus together, I promised to myself that at least I will not repeat those mistakes. So I think that also helped in going in the right direction, I would say.
Great. That's a profound statement. You must celebrate failure. We'll come back to the topic a bit later, but let's get back to customers. You're talking about keeping customers happy, but it's important not just to meet the current customer needs, but to delight them so they keep coming back to you. Tell us a little bit about how you deal with customers, maybe what are the lessons you learned from some of the toughest customers maybe, Let's hear.
Yeah, of course. I mean, customers are I would say your most critical partners in your journey as an entrepreneur, because even in Simnovus, when we built our first MVP product, we took it to our customers, and in fact, for almost 1.5 years, we did customer discoveries. We did a lot of on-site evaluations of the prototype product that we had built. Uh, we got a lot of feedbacks, very important, very interesting feedbacks from the customer that improved our product further, and not only product, that improved our business model as well. The pricing strategy, everything got improved a lot that we had never imagined before. So customers are the best partners that you can have outside of your founding team that can actually qualify your business further. That's what I would say. And the toughest customers are always welcome, because they always keep reminding you that you have not done enough yet. So you have to keep trying and making things better.
That's another great tip over there. Customers are your best partners. This is becoming almost a masterclass now, not just a podcast, which is excellent. You talked about not just building the product, but marketing it. And this is where many engineers sometimes tend to get stuck. They think that if I build a very good product with great features, the customers will love it and it will sell itself. But you must have a conscious go-to-market strategy. Yes. So tell us about what some of your strategies were and what some of your learnings are from that.
So, it's as I said in the beginning of the podcast itself, it's one of the myths and very prevalent amongst the engineers, that if they are able to make very innovative product, it will sell itself. That is definitely a myth. It will not sell itself. You need complementing skills, either in your co-founder or you build it yourself. But you definitely need a business acumen to be able to sell it, because there are certain skills that are needed to position the product in a certain way, find your right market, find your right customer segment, find the right pricing, do the competitive analysis. How does your product play out? Because a product is not successful until someone pays for it. Then only the product, we can say it is successful. That's all. GTM, I would say GTM is a common sense. It's just that we have come up with all these jargons, GTM and all PMF and all these things. If you look at it from your common sense, it's a very common thing to do. That if you, first of all, you have a purpose, you found a problem, you found a solution, you have to see whom you are going to sell, who are your customers, at what price you are going to sell, how you are going to sell, who is your competition. These are very common things that you just have to know, and then your GTM strategy is in place. That's what I would say.
Great. So good. We've talked a lot about product, market segments, and so on. One important question which engineers and entrepreneurs need to figure out very early on is, are we doing a B2C product or a B2B product? Are we dealing with individual customers or organizational customers? So what are some of your inputs on B2C versus B2B and so on?
See, frankly, I don't have, I would say, any experience in B2C products. Throughout my, even in my corporate experience, I have always been working with the product companies which are B2B products. And that's how naturally I started something which is in B2B. But having said that, if I again apply my common sense, it's like, so when you're building a product, first of all, when you find your purpose, you have to, at the initial stage itself, you have to identify whether it is a B2C product or a B2B product. That's the first identification that you should do before taking the next step. And then once you have identified it is a B2B or B2C, then you are basically then playing into a totally different paradigms. So if it is a B2C, what I would think is that then you have to realize your customer is an individual customer, and it is an individual decision maker, right? So you have to position the product in such a way, pricing becomes totally different. The way you sell the product also becomes very different in that case. Whereas in a B2B segment, that you're dealing with a business where one individual is not a decision maker. So you have to understand the process. How do they come to a decision of buying a product? And what is the segment that company is playing, and how many companies are there in that segment? So when you do your market surveys or customer discoveries or the pricing strategy, everything becomes very different from what it is in B2C versus B2B. Is what I think. Yeah.
Got it. We've talked a lot about the ups and downs and twists and turns of the startup journey, and failure is one of these blocks that founders must encounter. A lot of people say fail fast, fail easy, etc. But it's tough to deal with failure. It's very emotional, and yet people must frame it in different ways, bounce back, and be prepared for the next one. So, what are some of your tips, insights on failure and overcoming failure?
I would say one should fail smart. And what I mean by that is that, if you fail and when you fail, you should be smart enough to learn the most important learning that you can have from that failure. Why you actually failed, what were the reasons behind it, and how you can make it better so that for the similar reasons you should not fail again. So that is basically, if you're able to do the root cause analysis of your failure properly and fast enough, then you're failing smart. And as an entrepreneur, I think you should be resilient enough to face the failures, to face the challenges, and be smart enough to overcome those and keep going. Because one thing that I always keep telling my my all the team members and founders also, and I truly believe in this, is that there is no problem on this earth which cannot be solved. What it takes is your resilience, and of course your smartness and your persistence, in solving that problem.
Great, thanks. Let's switch now from failure to success. Founders need to be very clear also on what does success mean to them, what are the goals, what are the internal targets, external targets, and so on. What does success mean to you at Simnovus, and where do you see yourself going in the next 5 to 10 years?
So I would say that I don't consider success as an event. I consider success as a process, and this is something that keeps going along with you through your journey, through your life, as you pursue your dreams. So there is not one. I cannot count one particular event or a particular day or a year or a result as a success. And also at the same time, what I would say is that as an entrepreneur, you should not be very emotionally attached to your failures as well as your success. It's very momentary. You may be happy today for some reason, for some achievements, but then you have to move on beyond that tomorrow. And that's how you grow. So don't get attached. Don't remain attached to your success or failures. Keep moving on. Always have eye on your dreams, on your larger vision and objectives, and keep following it. And I think to the second question that you asked, what do you see yourself in next 5 to 10 years? I'll again tell you a story. When I was facing my first placement interview in my engineering college, the interviewer asked me, what do you see yourself in next 5 to 10 years? So this reminds me, immediately reminded me of that moment. I told him that in next 5 years, I see myself as a good engineer, and in next 10 years as an entrepreneur. Now that was year 2004, and at that time entrepreneurship was not that common as it is today. So I think that resonated with the interviewer at that point of time, and I think that he got impressed and they hired me. Today, if you ask me the same question, now one might think that, okay, I have already achieved a dream of becoming an entrepreneur. I'm already kind of living my dream, my childhood dream. But then what do I do next? The thing is that what keeps you driving is that once you start following your dream and you're living your dream, the next, to keep yourself motivated, to keep doing it again and again is a challenge. And I would say that today, when you ask me this question, I cannot answer you honestly what I see myself in next 10 years. Maybe I can do another startup. I can maybe do multiple startups. But today I don't have a different dream. That dream still remains the same. So I can't give you a very specific answer to that.
That's great. Almost a bit of philosophy in there. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So good. As we come towards the end of our podcast here today, I want to ask you a bit about what's happening in this technology space and beyond. You're in the telecom mobile space. We're seeing a lot of trends in these times. We're seeing the rise of Gen AI, new kinds of materials, supply chain disruptions, all kinds of stuff. What do you see as some of the very important trends that the entrepreneurs in the audience need to keep their eyes on?
If I talk about my particular industry specific, what is going on right now in my industry, I started my journey as an engineer when it was just 2G. We were in the GSM technology, very low bandwidth, lot of call drops, And then we started evolving to 3G and then 4G and now 5G. So there's a lot of churn going on right now in the industry. People are basically getting back to the table and thinking what is the right way forward. 5G started with a big bang, but right now it is cooled down a little bit. It is mainly because there was a mismatch between what 5G can offer to the common people in terms of mobile broadband, because it was already being served by LT, the 4G technology. So 5G is mainly meant for the enterprises, which has not materialized yet, although people are working hard to do it. Then in between all this, suddenly the SATCOM has come up, and I can tell you that that is going to be the next trend. And there has to be a coexistence of SATCOM and the terrestrial network together, because what it gives customers is that not only the bandwidth and mobility, but also the reachability. There are many remote places or remote areas where we cannot take our terrestrial networks. That's where the SATCOM can help. So these are the few churns. Now talking about AI. So first of all, I'm sure that the engineers must have already understood it. AI is not a product. It's a technology. And it is not a very new technology. It existed since long time. In fact, I had 2 papers in my engineering college about artificial neural networks and things like that. But we never took it seriously. Now, recently what has happened is that we have been able to crack some very intelligent models using the theory of artificial neural networks. And people have now started imagining the usage of this technology into building certain products. And as I can tell you that this technology has the potential to be used in almost every kind of a product, making the product even further intelligent, smarter and efficient. So generative AI or machine learning and all this, these are the enablers, technology enablers, which an entrepreneur can sense and use to build a product. Now, but finally, when you build a product, it has to solve a problem and serve a purpose, whatever technology you use. And one more, I think I missed pointing out that myth, that to be a successful business, you don't have to be always, thinking of a very innovative product. A very simple product, a simple solution can also be a very successful business idea.
Great. Thanks, Saurav. This has been a fantastic conversation. You've shared many stories from your experience. You've shared lots of trends about what to expect in the future. Can you sum up with maybe 3 key tips for the audience, the entrepreneurs in the audience, on how they should stay focused and become successful? 3 concluding tips.
Yeah, I think if you are willing to be an entrepreneur, so first of all, have a dream and pursue it. And when you pursue a dream, be as resilient, as persistent as possible, and fail smart. Of course, you will face failures, and it's very natural. Celebrate it, learn from it, and move forward.
Fantastic, Saurav. To sum up, I think I've got a huge list here of the other tips that you mentioned. One is celebrate failure, fail smart that you just mentioned, dream but pursue your dream. Your customer is your partner. Failure is part of the journey, but don't embrace only the failure and the success and move beyond it. Thank you so much, Saurav.
Thank you,
Any other concluding remarks before we sign off?
No, I think I'm good. Thanks for conducting this podcast so well. I think you asked very interesting questions, and you actually took a lot of maybe some forgotten memories out of me. So that is really good. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks. I hope you all enjoyed our podcast. Do join us for our next lengthy podcast on different issues of interest. Thank you.